RE0 podcast. I'm your host, Wolf.
I'm your host, Gold.
I'm your host, Connor.
And today, gentlemen, we will finally be talking about Arc 9, Phase 3, Part 2 of our arbitrary divvying up of this phase. Let's fucking do this!
Oh my gosh. I could not be happier. Genuinely could not be happier.
It's all coming together.
It's all coming together.
It's all lining up.
Not only did we get some really cool lore, maybe fix a character that we all despised a little bit, but my main girl, my number one, the winner of our April Fool's waifu tier list, is finally back, and she's better than ever.
Even more complete than before, one could say.
It's Rem.
S tier.
S tier waifu on the block.
And yeah, we kind of just dispelled all illusion. It's Rem. We know it's Rem. If you read this, you know it's Rem.
Yes, it's Rem.
But she's back. Actually, there's also some other returning waifus, which is interesting.
Yes!
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Really unexpected, honestly.
So it's all, I forget where I placed her, but I'm glad she's back.
She's back. Yeah, baby, she's back.
It's a very exciting series of chapters with very large implications for the rest of the story, obviously, right? Mm-hmm. There's a lot of things being set up here. Things that we kind of were expecting and things that I was not expecting at all. I think I did not know when some characters would be relevant. And now that they are, I mean, it's interesting. I wonder where it's leading. Or, I mean, it's essentially still the same Taipei story of reveal something halfway, have a character say something kind of implied and not give full context of it yet, but it still leads to a lot of speculation.
Yes, for sure. Forgive me. I feel like I'm being dumb here. Who else is back other than Rem?
It's Sylphie!
Sylphie! Oh my gosh, yes, I completely forgot. Sorry, overshadowed in her chapter a little bit. My bad.
Yeah, I know, true. That chapter had a lot of things going on.
There was so much going on.
Yeah,
I was shocked and surprised, but I was still coming off of the high of the previous chapter for coming in and be like, Subaru-kun?
that moment, yeah.
Lots of great fan art for that too. Big shout out to our community, by the way, for warning us about the Rem return spoiler ahead of time.
Yes,
so we knew to stay away for anything after 34 came out.
Yeah, pretty. If you couldn't tell, this is a reveal that is a pretty big fucking spoiler. So being able to dodge it is like a miracle, honestly.
Yeah, to be fair, because contextually, I mean, we've been caught up with the story and stuff like that, and as well as the fact that, Arc 6 kind of gives you the whole Rem is back and awake moment, right?
Mm-hmm.
That is like a big spoiler that's kind of been lingering for a very long time.
Yeah.
For anime onlys at least to know, right? Like, if you told anime only that Rem was awake, they'd be like, why you spoil that, dude? Right? That's huge, right?
Mm-hmm.
But like, the context of what happened to Rem, even after she was awake, we were all waiting for this moment, right? Where she would kind of like unify herself. And yeah, it happened, and it's glorious.
Yeah, it's super similar to that moment in Arc 6 between both Subarus, right? Where like it doesn't make the other one disappear or die, it just consolidates them both into one.
Mm-hmm.
And it's
exactly.
It's so cool to see all of the amazing development that Rem got in Arc 7 and 8 consolidate into the previous Rem we know and love. I'm really curious to see how that's going to change her moving forward.
Yeah, it's really cool that what they are doing with the narration too from her, where she's like swapping between I versus Rem when she's addressing herself, or calling Subaru that guy, that person, and Subaru-kun back and forth. It's super fascinating to that. Like, it's really, really cool.
It's so
there's
awesome.
There's a lot of that recently, I think. I mean, it's obviously a thing with Petra, but like, it was a huge theme even in Arc 6, but also now Arc 7, Arc 8, like, this is a continuation of that theme, and it's also meant to give, I think, a through line that, I'll explain later. I mean, this is something I could touch on really quick now, which is just like honestly believe that both Rem, Subaru, and Amelia are going to have this moment where they have to confront a different side of themselves. You know, yeah, that's just my sort of idea there. You know, they all have to come with terms of it because they're all the main characters of the story at this point.
Yeah,
you know, yeah,
undoubtedly so. It's relieving, and it's kind of like almost edge of your seat inducing at the same time, because this happening now in the story feels simultaneously triumphant and also devastating because Subaru can't be here for the moment it all comes back.
No, which is good because now Rem gets to save him finally,
Yes.
and
Yeah, exactly.
not die to Betelgeuse immediately when she does.
Yeah.
Also, it's something that we talked about before, which is the fact that Rem has always been super reliant on Subaru ever since he helped her, and now with this dynamic shifted, and of course everything that happened in Arc 7 and 8, we get to see Rem as somebody detached from Subaru, which even the side of her that existed in Arc 4 is still there, detached from Subaru now, and we get to see that, and root for her. I think she's going to be a driving force in the camp. Of course, to save Subaru, but like the idea that her unification here is going to give her a lot of leeway. Of course, we're also with Petra, but yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's also really important to state how much this is going to affect the characters around Rem in the Amelia camp, as we've already started to see it like happen in these chapters that have come out. But
yeah,
we haven't seen...
quick.
Oh, go ahead.
I also love that it just affects the people who are around Rem, in that you have to see her to get your memories back.
To jog it back. It's like old
funny little detail.
Is glitching, and it needs you to be able to visually process her before it can give you back the information.
It's a reverse Death Note.
Yeah,
that's true. It's very funny. I think the sort of idea that, like, I forget who said it. It was something like, our memories are kind of like faulty, or like, we still need to like see something to like get it all back. We aren't special. Yeah. I think like Ram said that. She was like, I'm not special. Like, even I needed to see, you again to really appreciate you.
Yeah, like Rama's bit was also so sweet and cute these chapters too.
So
like
wholesome.
More than we've ever seen her.
It's the most vulnerable I think we've ever seen her.
Yeah, 100%. This is her defenses down, walls down, 100%.
And I do want to wonder on how much of that is just now that she remembers Rem and she feels bad is obviously like a huge part of it. But even just the way that she's like acting and talking also feels like we went back to Arc 2 with her. Like seems more relaxed with it. So I do suspect that we were right, that the lack of Rem made her relationship with Roswell different.
I do think that is the case.
Now, obviously, she's had a year to develop feelings irrespective of that, which are going to still probably keep her locked into that ship. But
yeah, 100%. I mean, like, the thing that happened in Arc 4 is huge. Like, it's not something that goes away just with the context of your memories.
Yeah.
No. But like even the example that we got, that Rom had thought that she had designed the maid outfits for one reason, but when she's trying to think of it, it's all blurry, meaning that it's probably for an entirely different reason related to like their work there.
Mm-hmm. It's just so it was also just so gratifying, like seeing all of the emotions. Like when Amelia started to tear up and cry, I started crying too while reading. I got super emotional because, like, oh my god, it's so sweet. And the moments of Ram and Rem, it's just like, oh my, it's like when the emotions hit in this story, they hit like no other story does, genuinely.
They really do.
Yeah, I mean, I love all these characters. They've all been developed so well and over time, it's hard to really even forget any of them. I really like how they pay, even after all the crazy stuff, gives a very believable moment of, even in this phase, right? This, denouement like moment where like all the characters can come together and they're licking their wounds and still planning for what to do against Al, right? That's still on their mind, but they can have this moment where they all check in on each other and also, it's like he tried not to forget anybody in this scenario too. Even like Ryuzu's here to like comment on it. Like all like just a plethora of people that you wouldn't really expect. She's like, yeah, I mean, all of Amelia Camp needs to remember Rem, and they all have different feelings about her.
But this is also, worryingly, the first time we see how much having Subaru's memories and personality laced onto Petra is affecting her emotions.
Yeah. I mean, that's a discussion too that we can talk about, especially because obviously everyone knows like that, or like you read it and like the moment sticks out with Petra, like during this REM union, one might say,
if you will,
is like her acting as if she was Subaru. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, pulling both girls with her to the table and sitting between them, holding both their hands.
She's starting to disassociate from Petra at points.
Yeah, I mean, for the version of Subaru that's in her mind, this wound of Rem like going away is so fresh. It's like 4 days had passed in actual time between that point in the sanctuary and Rem getting like consumed. Like this is still, and maybe he has an extra week from all the times that he looped in Arc 4 up until the version of him that Petra has.
Yeah, this is
but it's still like this just happened. So he hasn't had like a year to process it yet.
Yeah, it's interesting because obviously this is the version of Subaru, I would say, who still hasn't really grasped what Rem's loss meant. So this is sort of a very quick emotional relief feeling, right?
Yeah.
It's, of course, impassioned and whatnot, but it also makes you wonder, like, obviously the stars and the fate of the observers like in a scenario in which Subaru actually got Rem back early, I don't think that would have been helpful for him. You know what I mean?
It depends on how early he got her back.
Yeah.
Like, I think she would have been nothing but helpful and beneficial to Subaru, even on the arc he went through, up until he lost his memories in Arc 6. Because at that point, she's just an extra weapon at his side that he can trust and rely on. But if he loses his memories, Rem is going to be someone that, like Amnesia Baru, either can't trust at all because who the hell could ever be so devoted and loving towards him like that, or is the only person he relies on and thus is unable to move forward himself.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I mean, right? Like, even through the trials of Arc 4 and stuff like that, if Rem was by his side, I don't think he would have learned anything valuable. And, like, everything is like that. And I mean, I think one part of it that's very interesting is the fact that, like, we talk about the fact that Beatrice gets fridged, right? In terms of, like, she can't be around because she adds too much stability to Subaru's circumstances in a certain arc, right?
It's the same for Rem.
Same with Rem, yeah. That's the reason why Rem was gone from the story so early, right?
And why we can't bring her back until Subaru has kind of fully realized who he is and himself.
Exactly. And so that's the narrative.
He's allowed to be competent.
Yeah, that's the narrative reason why it happened. But now that, in retrospect, now they think about it, can we just say how brilliant it is to bring Rem back for Arc 7, but have it not be like, sure, it's brilliant to bring her back now and Subaru's not there. What I mean is that, like, in Arc 7, it's brilliant to have her back and have some agency, but not the same character. You know what I mean?
Yes, exactly.
Because it addressed a lot of the complaints that people had about Rem, that she didn't have any like relationships outside of Subaru, that she was only focused on him and no one else, that it was someone who just had no sense of self to her, which I don't necessarily agree with, but it was the arguments for why she sucks or why people don't like her.
I think it adds so much more depth to the relationship going forward, right? Also, I think it adds so much depth to the struggle that Subaru is going through.
How best to say? It is really important that the way these events turned out this way. And the reason I'm saying this is because Subaru, being in this vulnerable position he is now, he now needs everyone to go save him. And because that's going to kind of, in my opinion, going to be one of the last big stretches of his development, is because even though he's grown a lot, he's still been really struggling with letting go agency, right? Especially in Arc 7 and Arc 8, we were seeing a lot of problems with that.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is going to be the final stretch of Subaru starting to realize, okay, this is why it's important that I trust that these people can do things and I don't have to always be there and RBD for them, you know?
Yes.
But
exactly.
It is contextually really important that Rem gets her memories back now and is the one to save Subaru like this because of the effect of Priscilla's death on Subaru. So, hold on, let me cook here for a second, right? Okay. Amnesia Rem, or Provincial Rem, has this close relationship with Priscilla. She feels a lot of grief for losing her. And she is an important, like, female relationship that she can kind of parallel with Ram when she gets her memories back that can expand her relationships with other people. And the tragedy of that losing her is going to really affect her. But it's important that Rem, with her memories back, knows this context and knew Priscilla to be able to help Subaru navigate the grief of Priscilla's death, right? Because if I'm being honest with you, if this scenario wasn't set up like this, I think it would be really hard for Subaru to move past Priscilla's death if he was to come back. Especially with how Al has reacted.
With how Al has reacted, yes. I think if Al had gotten closure either healthfully or unhealthily, Subaru could have gone through it on his own.
But that's not what
happened. Whether he had actively read the book or had realized that it wasn't worth it and decided to live with the memory, I think Subaru would have been fine to move on there.
Mm-hmm.
But with here, it's also going to feel like such a slap in the face when Al sees her.
Yeah.
And like realizes that she's come for Subaru, or if Subaru gets out and sees her there and like gets to find that his own actions have given Subaru even more of a good thing when he doesn't have his one good thing anymore.
Mm-hmm. It's gonna cause some sort of mental break or dangerous situation, I think.
Yeah, I mean, we get to the point where like Al is very composed in what he's doing right now, but I mean, it's only gonna go. I think we know that he is sort of in this failed state. I mean, Al at least, right?
Mm-hmm.
In the sense that like what he's doing cannot come to pass, but it's also one of the things where like whatever he's doing is something Echidna is calculated for. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Assuming that she has the true tome of wisdom that sees the future, right? Is that like this is something that she probably considered, you know?
It's also a thing too of, right? Like it's really interesting because like overall this is setting up the big way Al is going to be defeated. Like in my opinion, like this phase, like all of the hints that weaving through are weaving cracks into Al's plan. Like how Fel and Rom basically outsmart him, and Rom figures out that he has an authority and figures out exactly what it can do. So he can relay information to everyone, which he does, by the way, in this phase. So now everyone knows exactly what he fucking does. Which
especially after the people who wouldn't know what an authority is got a download on a debrief from it from Clint.
And of all the people to get that information from, you got it from Rom, who's going to convey it in the most accurate and useful way possible to these people. And Emilia is potentially one of Al's worst matchups. So Emilia having this information now means if they get locked into a fight where Al can't escape, he's fucked. He's done. Right?
Yes. Indeed.
So, yeah, everybody fighting him from now on knows exactly what he's trying to do. Yeah.
So Al is getting close to that point where he is game over or he's hard locked into a corner. Like his quick save is right before he dies. It's and it's all of his own making. And the big thing here is, too, we're starting to add more and more cracks. Otto is doing some guerrilla warfare shit and making it so they can't sleep. Their food is rotting. That he's slowing down their travel. He's making it really uncomfortable for them. He is trying to mentally break them at like 24/7 all hours of the day. Anytime they try to get comfortable, anytime they try to relax, he is there with his divine protection to fuck with them.
Mm-hmm. It's debilitating to the point of he now has to lay down because it's taking all of his effort to do this, which is a good thing that now Petra's here and can help alleviate that as she did back in Orc 7.
With her yang magic.
Unless that's the thing she gave up for some reason.
She gave up. I don't think it will be that, though.
I honestly think that what she gave up, and we can speculate on that, I mean, I believe it has something to do with her love or memories of Subaru, if that makes sense.
That's what I initially assumed. Connor, don't you have like a different or interesting theory about this? Like,
I don't think she gave up anything too much for that yet. Like for whatever she gave now was enough to do something significant here, and I can't really put a finger on what she has that could have been at this point. But I do believe at some point that will be used in order for her to give up her knowledge of Subaru and by death.
Yes, exactly. Right.
From a meta perspective, especially with the chapter that it happens in being called Attraction, I personally felt it was something to do with her feelings towards Subaru, especially because before she does it, she tells Subaru she loves him.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Also think that like a part of it definitely has to do with so basically the way Klein's thing works is that it has to be something significant for the fate of the world, right?
Mm-hmm.
It has to be something that alters course of history, whatever. You know what Roswell had to give up to use his authority?
Did we know? I couldn't remember if we found out or not.
It was in a side story, so
okay. My speculation for that was that he had given up either the memories of one of his existences, some random spell.
Yeah.
I think those were the two that I had come up with.
Yeah, it was his ability to use two types of magic.
Oh.
Yeah. So he can't use water magic and something else because of him using
He can't use yin either.
Yin, yeah. So that's the reason why he can't use those two anymore is because
so he still has that, or up until I guess the beginning of 7 and the beginning of 9, he still had that cashed in. I guess when he went back to him.
I assume so.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But yeah,
that's a pretty big thing for a magic user like him to give up.
Yeah, that gives you the idea about why it's interesting the way that his authority works is that it's something that is actually like intrinsic to who you are as a person, right? So I think it's something that is like ironic or at least debilitating to you specifically, you know? So I think that's the reason why love makes sense in this scenario for Petra.
Yeah, for sure. But I feel like we wouldn't have gotten the points about her jealousy to like Amelia there.
That is also fair.
Her jealousy.
It has to be something that can affect the world specifically.
This is what I'm saying. I don't know if you think this is like a little too intricate, but follow me a bit here. She didn't give up her love for Subaru. She gave up the possibility for any universe where she could gain his love back.
That's true. I think another part of it kind of has to do with this idea that like I think that it must have something to do with the fact that Subaru and her, it might be a one-way street, you know what I mean?
Street,
in every sense, like she'll always be yearning for his love but never get any of it back, you know what I mean? Never be able to confess her love either, perhaps.
It would make sense why the Subaru in her head references how beautiful of a young woman she's become, if that is the thing that's going to happen after it immediately. Do you know what I mean? Like it adds a tragic element to that.
Yeah, she'll never be able to get closure on what her feelings are.
Especially if I'm imagining it from this metaphorical perspective from her whole idea of that is basically her saying, I'm giving up on a potential of a future with the person I love, the person who I would have wanted to marry and had maybe children with one day. Obviously, I don't know if Subaru even would have wanted to, but it's like maybe maybe it's like eliminating that as a thing that could have ever happened, like potentially. And that's a really big thing that you could give up that could, I think, alter the world in itself, because you're changing a relationship that would have impact or meaning on how the world would be structured.
Yeah. It's significant to her, so yeah. I think that makes sense.
Joke theory, real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
She gives up the ability for her chest to grow any bigger.
You know what? It's a good point. Yeah. She's gonna be a shorty forever.
Yeah. It's just I will be 12 forever. De-ages.
And then more lolly harem forever.
Oh no!
It's just
no.
I was thinking more of the ROM side of things, where she's still a grown adult, just is flat. But
Yeah.
I mean, sure, take it that way too.
I know what you mean. Yeah, I was also joking about that. It was something I was actually thinking about, is that the fact that like there is something that I was kind of thinking loosely, and this is just a bit of a, what's it called, like a segue, or not even a segue. It's just like a, yeah. But anyways, I was gonna say that like the fact that Amelia now has Sylphie, like Sylphie's like looking like in love with her, right, or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It is really cute.
Devoted to her.
Devoted to her, yeah. It makes me like think that like all the like characters, like Rem is even gonna have somebody like that in the future. Like I think part of what Tepe is kind of giving in this arc, especially, I mean, I think the reason why it's actually relevant too is because when you really think about it, Al's love is also something that can't be reciprocated. You know, it's interesting. I think that's probably the reason why Petra is the focal point in that way, because they're more alike than you think.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Like Petra won't be able to get like be the person she wants to be either, you know.
I really, on the subject of Petra as a character for a whole for this section of the phase, I really like how she self-actualizes herself and says, yeah, I know I'm pretty, I know I'm talented, I know I've got all of these amazing things. Do I care much about people that I don't care about? No, not really. I'm not like Subaru. I'm not like an actively overly kind person. But I invest all of that love back into the people around me. It's really interesting seeing such a different ideology from Subaru that isn't wholly separated and still being very like connected to him.
Yeah, it's very connected to him, you're right. In the sense that he does care about the people around him. I think Petra, you know, from the very start, you know, and it makes sense considering what's happened to her, is that when she's in this small community, she grew up in a small community, right? And you know, just disaster struck, you know, they're all in danger. And ever since, she's been wary and guarded, especially with the betrayal from Roswell of anybody else outside of her tight-knit group, right? And just now, especially, Al betrayed any semblance of that trust again. So, like, Petra has a very dangerous risk. I mean, not like a dangerous risk, but it's like her personality has now been very decided of, I need to be careful on who I trust.
But, and now here is the extra layer to Petra's character that we kind of get like built up upon in here with a bit of interesting like thoughts about return by death in the narration specifically, which is she starts to think about all of the amazing things Subaru has done since all of the stuff that happened in Arc 4. And she's talking with the Subaru in her head. And he asks her meaningfully, do you think a normal person like Subaru could have achieved all of these amazing things without the use of return by death?
She doesn't even want to answer it.
She doesn't even want to answer it because she knows the answer, right?
Exactly.
And then she starts to think about how much, because of that, how much Priscilla's death must have upsetted him, how much he was giving towards Al, and how much she hates Al for the way he has betrayed him, right? Because we already know Petra isn't like Subaru and Amelia, and let's be honest, naive and always forgive everyone for every misdoing they ever do, right? Because Petra is, like, in my opinion, objectively right on her opinion on Al here. Like, regardless of how much you can pity Al for his situation, right? Al has done something that is irreversibly a betrayal that cannot be forgiven. And Petra...
And also...
go ahead.
I was going to say, and also it's like, it's threatening the end of the world. Yeah.
It's threatening to end the world. It's the most selfish thing to do. And Petra is very aware of it. But it really, really hurts her because she knows that no matter what she does to Al, like if she were to kill him or rip his soul apart, all of the fucked up things she thinks about doing to him, she knows it's not going to rectify the pain it's caused Subaru.
No, not at all. I mean, Al is he's interfered with an election at this point because of the dragon. He's let out serial killers. He's committed grievous accounts of bodily injury.
I mean, what do they say? They say, oh yeah, he's going to have 100 counts of death penalty by the end of this.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it said, yeah. And also, like, the fact that, he's also, like, kidnapped, like, 3 people, or he's gonna have, like, 1 million people,
Oh, come on, you can't kidnap an orphan. They weren't wanted in the first place.
Exactly. That's what he's saying to Felt, yeah.
I think it's just really interesting because it adds this angle of, we already knew that Al was kind of on a suicide mission with him doing this, but it's really locked in now. I mean, with the way people were saying, like, oh yeah, this could genuinely cancel the royal selection because of how he's interfering with the Divine Dragon. This could genuinely destroy the country. Like, this isn't just a Lagunican crisis, this is a worldwide crisis. And
the dragon has to be put back to wherever he came from.
Yeah, the Sino old man needs to go back from where he came from. The witch needs to be put back in her fucking box.
Exactly. Both things need to be resolved like that. Hopefully, right? Like,
you can only hope, because Reinhardt and her are just going to fight to a stalemate, basically.
I do agree. There's a possibility that Volcanica dies somewhat, or his dragon has died somewhat here, and the Dragonkin becomes the main
force
arbitrary.
When they notice that the Dragonstone like doesn't break or anything,
exactly.
The kin is still out there.
Because that is definitely what was being set up with the Dragonkin situation, which is going to be really, really fucking fun whenever that comes about. But
cool character design too, probably.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
I wonder, right, like, this is going to have permanent consequences for the world of the story going forward, all of these events. I'm very curious to see how the resolution between Al and everyone else is going to go. Is Al straight up just going to die, or is Subaru going to yeet him down the geyser and send him back home or something?
I think you've just hit the nail on the mark, is that he gets pushed down the geyser. And that he's back in the original world.
Yeah, it's like Subaru comes back from the original world and pushes him down the geyser and is like, you need to go home. And because Al keeps on constantly references that he has a really bad relationship with his family, right? Like, especially his father, if I'm remembering right. So I feel like part of the resolution for Al's character will be him coming to terms with that in the real world.
Yeah.
I mean, Subaru's never mentioned his grandparents. So
yeah, exactly. I mean, funnily enough, I think more and more likely is the idea that Al is Al is pretty much a reconstruction of Subaru via the memories of the Tome of Wisdom, right?
Yeah, it's some weird, creepy shit, whatever's going on with that.
And because of that, like, we're talking earlier about the fact that, what can Subaru do without the return by death, right? That is something that Al was thinking too. Which means that I honestly believe that just as likely as whatever is going on with Flugel, that's probably also happening with Al. There's also the possibility that, we've talked about the idea that the relationship that Echidna has with Flugel, and also the things that Flugel's doing in the Watchtower and all the stuff, probably has something to do with Al. But I also think that just as likely, the reason why everything's been, you need to become Nazi super, all this different stuff, is because obviously this is a programming that Echidna knew with the Tome of Wisdom. Reading the future, downloaded all of this. The reason why they're mechanical is because she pretty much uses the book as like a computer program to download into people's memories. And we see like the circuitry of her like barrier is like so impossible magic that nobody else can replicate and stuff like that. So I think in a way, Al is sort of like an AI version of Subaru.
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Like a really sloppily, artificially made Sage candidate, right? And it's really interesting too, because I think we slightly discussed this before in a previous podcast. I can't quite remember, but I think we were talking at least at one point and getting close to the idea that Echidna literally sees this world through ones and zeros at this point. Like,
right, yeah, we did say that, yeah. Like, she sees the code of this reality.
Yeah.
That's the reason why she also wants Subaru, not only because it's a stage candidate, but because if she can get into the real world, it's a venue of her realizing that her world is sort of stacked on top of whatever. Like, we think that, like, why do people come from outside of the world, right? The real world. It's because of the fascination Echidna has with the idea that her world is being observed or being layered atop of,
there's something outside of it, right?
Yeah, the fate of the world she already has the blueprint of. If she already has the blueprint of the fate of her world, then what she needs to do is understand what's going on in others. Like, there's understanding there. I think that's part of it. There's this idea that, like, she feels like she needs to break free. You know what I mean? I think that's probably part of it. Yeah, like this idea that I suppose at this point that she's like the main villain of the series, not like Satella or whatever. But like in the sense that everything that's happened in the story since,
literally the beginning, everything comes back to her.
Everything comes back
at some point, because
Pandora, it comes back to Pandora initially, but I mean, is like all the events of the main story that's happening now, like ever since the Witches have been sealed, is because of her trying to stop whatever Pandora's doing, and then her becoming insane or whatever, like all this stuff.
It's
which, if Hector is supposed to be like the protagonist and Pandora like the divine chosen one, then it really puts him Echidna in the bad guy role if she's against them.
Yeah, exactly. Right. If like in the RPG story, she is the bad evil witch that she said, she's like, I'm an evil witch that occasionally does, like that she's taking on the role of the bad guy, and she's, when you think about her, right, like, sure, she's greed, and the story is largely about that, primarily in terms of the emotions people have with one another, but like she's the one who's the significant in the story because she, is the only one who has preserved the dead and lost, and also has manipulated the memories of people who are rightfully died, or like even if their deaths were, bad or awful, she's preserved their memories and hung on to them in a very selfish manner. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And can't give it up because of her love, of these people that she knew. Yeah.
Owl's emotions and selfishness is very much a result of Echidna's own too, right? Like,
absolutely.
It's a symptom of her own problems too.
Yeah, because it's the same way that we had with Roswell in arcs 1 to 3.
Yes,
it's like almost down to the letter. It's the same thing.
Right. Yeah. The idea that Al is replicating Roswell's state of mind.
I mean,
is like very clear.
Interestingly, there's a very big possibility if Al was to show up to the sanctuary, he could have been an apostle of greed, right? Like,
100%. Yeah.
So
is that why they've reintroduced Ryuzu in these chapters?
Maybe. Yes, that's actually a good point. Yeah.
Partially. Yeah, partially, I think.
Because she could still see the qualifications for that, right?
Well, it's because he can control the extra ones.
So there's going to be
right now
where he turns them around on them or something.
Right now, technically, the only like active and functioning apostle of greed is Amelia, based on the interludes from Arc 4, where it says that she's the only one that they listen to for whatever reason.
Yeah.
So Al, if he shows up and like the other reusers are there helping out because, I don't know, they don't want to leave Rem after finally getting her back too or something, and he turns all of them on them. Like he's not killed anyone normally yet, but these mindless clones, it wouldn't shock me if he starts making them blow up like they did against Satella in Arc 4.
Right. And it's one of those things where his one thing up his sleeve especially is nobody knows his origin, right? So he hasn't revealed it, right? In the sense that nobody knows that he is, Echidna's disciple, And we talked a bit about the fact that in Arc 8, like, Roswell never really got to, like, talk to Sphinx, right? And stuff like that. I think it's because the moment that's occurring or is going to occur is the moment where both Roswell and Al are like, oh, we're both her students. You know what I mean?
Because they from how the timeline should have gone, they're disconnected from each other because they can't know that each other are her apostles.
I mean,
right?
They technically are, yes, but Roswell is not going to take that sitting down.
No.
Al is a student of the Witch of Greed. Roswell is Echidna's student.
Yeah, he knows that distinction. Yeah.
Like, he doesn't even let Subaru call her the Witch of Greed. It's like immediately, it's Echidna.
Yeah.
And when you really think about it, that plan, I mean, like, that bit of writing has been around for a while. You know?
Tapeya's genuinely set this up masterfully. The way he's weaved in all of these themes and all of these characters' relationships towards Echidna and what it means for the main story is really fascinating. Like, the dynamics are just so interesting. Like, it's one of those things where even though Al becomes a character of prominence later on in the story, the building blocks were there for him to become that already, right?
Yeah. Because, like, they've been setting this up with, like, Echidna's actions as the Witch of Greed, and even just through her own existence, but mostly through the Witch of Greed, lead to the problems of every single arc so far, at least to a degree. Where arcs 1 to 3 are 100% Roswell's doing. So he's doing that in accordance with trying to do everything he needs to for the Sanctuary and the Tome of Wisdom, which, yes, that was left by the Witch of Greed, but it's Echidna that's there and influencing things, it's the Witch of Greed doing their influencing, it's not Echidna. Arc 4 is obviously her. Arc 5, the witch cult's there for the Tome of Wisdom and her created spirits.
Yeah.
Yep, exactly.
In a city she might have had a hand of making, by the way.
And 6 is she made the fucking library.
She made it, yeah.
Arc 7, Arc 8 is because of Sphinx.
It's Sphinx, yeah. A
Which
direct clone of her personality.
Clone of her personality, who she tried to use to resurrect herself.
She's
almost successfully.
The most significant character. I mean, like, of course, and then there's Bleed to Pay spoiling it, where he says, "This is the lines of the final villain of the story." And it's an Echidna quote, and that's something Tapei's revealed. So, yeah, it's like, okay.
I think with all this build up, it would genuinely surprise me if Echidna wasn't the main threat. Here.
Or at least cause of the main threat.
Cause of the main threat, yeah. Maybe not necessarily
Echidna,
the final antagonist, but the person who sets it all up, you know?
Yeah, specifically the
Witch of Greed. Yeah.
Yes, and you're right. Pandora is obviously going to be a part of this, and all the things with the apostles. But it's actually interesting, like, they've talked a bit about it, and I don't know if they've ever really confirmed this in this level of terminology before, but Klein was like saying, like, oh yeah, I mean, like, you don't have to be an archbishop to have authority, of course, right? But on top of that, he even talked about the compatibility of the witch factor, and that was the thing, of course, brought up first by Echidna. But like, now we see that, yeah, we were right, that like the compatibility is a part of what is being searched for people to hold the authorities, right?
Yeah, their capacity to use it, how much it affects them when they have it, and what the cost is to using it if you have a low compatibility.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, Beetlejuice literally had to like bite his fingers to use.
Because when it's just Juice doing it, like, it's using it at all is causing his eyes to bleed to the point that he genuinely only sees red in his nose. Later on, Pedalic use has to cause that pain purposely to make them happen rather than whatever. Then obviously it still deeply affects Subaru because he's not a slothful person anymore. But he seems to be able to maintain Corleonis borderline indefinitely.
Well, yeah, Corleonis is the perfect authority for Subaru, right? Like, I would say beyond Return by Death. Like, it is genuinely the most compatible thing for him.
It makes so much sense, you know? And also, actually, it contextualized something very fun to me, which is the fact that Regulus, of course, had a perfect compatibility with his witch factor. But there is something very interesting, but the idea that Pandora stole Echidna's authority and then gave it to like the most petulant person, and they like, I don't even think Regulus even knew about Echidna, but that's like, you take your enemy's power and give it to like the worst person possible. You know what I mean?
Right.
I think that's kind of funny.
Especially when it seems to go against what Echidna's ideology is exactly, too, right?
Right. I mean, it's probably why she sent Hector to Echidna in the first place, was just to go and get her witch factor.
Yeah. Very likely. Especially
think
if
that
we're right about Pandora being like the originator of all of these.
Right. I mean, literally her name, but you know,
factors.
it's like
It would make too much sense, especially with the extra RPG party context we get this time around, which we should probably talk about a bit more in depth because this is like some huge fucking lore drops that we.
This is a big. I mean, there's stuff that we just don't know, and we're not going to know for a while. Still,
exactly.
About 400 plus years ago. So like there's 400 years ago, which is going to be a big lore dump eventually.
And then there's
there's stuff that happened that even before then that originated these authorities that like
at least originated the authorities that the 7 witches had. We didn't get confirmation on that for the unenumerated ones.
Yeah, the unenumerated one, which is a very interesting concept.
Also makes sense why even that door, right, in the Pleiades Watchtower is only 7, because Subaru isn't supposed to be collecting the unenumerated ones because they're not.
Yeah, the enumerated ones are the only one that need to be right. The unenumerated ones mean something I don't know yet. Yeah.
It's really
well they're created is their thing. Is like they're basically artificial ones is based on what Klein said about them.
Yeah, from the impression we can get. But this adds an interesting element to this because, well, also I want to mention this one thing because it's just really cute and funny. Where Petra learns about all of this and is like, "Can I take the authority, the witch factor of Tristia and be a witch just like Subaru is a warlock?" And Subaru's like, "Me, a warlock? You do realize that return by death thing is exactly what they're describing what this is, right?" And he's like, "Yeah, a kid told me about that. I guess, yeah." And
I love how he still doesn't know at this point.
Yeah, and this Subaru just, I guess Subaru in general just is just like, "Oh yeah, I must be a warlock," not realizing I'm the motherfucking sage candidate, bitch.
So funny. I mean, there's of course the moment which I think is kind of like important now in retrospect, and I remember this, and of course it's like feels understated, is the beginning of Arc 6 in which Roswaal is like, yeah, he's the sage candidate. Yeah, he's talking to Beatrice, and he's like, yeah, he's a sage candidate. And there's 2 other that exist. You know, one is a fake, right? Like one is like a fake, and one is, you know, hopeless or whatever. And obviously, like Al is the fake, you know, the copy, and whoever is hopeless or whatever, you know, we'll figure out.
It seems from Flugel's behavior, he was the one who was hopeless.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, he's not a good guy. And yeah, I mean, like, well, I do wonder a bit about, I've said this before, but it's like the context of who and what they were fighting over, Pandora at least.
What was the thing that initiated all of this? Because this is the truth of the matter. Because we now, the big little drop for here, which I didn't expect at all, because typical convention and theorizing about this has been the opposite. Ode Lagana is in control of the witch factors and deems them to be basically the things that control this universe.
They came from Ode Lagana, not necessarily controlling them.
Because
but they're like a prototype divine protection almost.
Yes, exactly. Well, there's something like something the humans wield that Lagna can't really control, but by using it, you are directly striking against Odd Lagna's flow, you know? So like by you're like forcing entry, right? You're like kind of manipulating it in a way that, you know, only itself could normally do, right? Like you're wielding its power yourself.
It's like
but I took that as a positive thing on Ode Lagna's part. Like the people who are compatible with the witch factors are basically doing its will by using them without consequence, which is why it needs a price when you go against it and aren't compatible with it.
And I think there's something weird about that, which is like, okay, who does? I mean, it's the same thing with the Blessing of the Sword Saints. Like, who is deciding who is worthy for what blessing and why? It does feel like there's I mean, we know this, there's a consciousness or like I'm not sure if it's a consciousness in the sense of like a world soul sort of idea or like a like life stream sort of idea, you know, like from Final Fantasy, but like the idea that is it just like a natural force, or is it a god? Is it spiritual being, and then if it's a natural force, and that's okay, and we're with Odlagna, sure. But then did somebody or something hijack Odlagna at some point?
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that we still don't know, right? So like even though Odlagna itself is a good thing that had functions that worked randomly or naturally, I still believe that probably somebody has corrupted it.
We know, I'm pretty sure we know at least it was mentioned the way Echidna made the library was by tricking Odlagna, right, into doing
Yes,
it.
and she's like capturing the souls on their way there in order to make the books of the dead.
She's adding an extra like mini step in between the steps of Odlagna to like naturally reincarnate souls. It's capturing the information before it lets it go, right?
And if she makes the clones, yeah.
If her whole thing and the way that like Sphinx and Owl operate is like looking at source code, it could be even less that it's being corrupted and more that it's being hacked in a way. That she understands the basic force of the universe well enough to craft all these spells, going far beyond what Odlagna is like the natural force of it was intended to do. And so now the observers have to step in and start acting as more than observers and begin interfering in things with the divine protections.
Yeah, it's true.
It's almost.
I'll
go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say I also think that thinking about it exactly like code is exactly what Tepe's trying to think about in terms of the fundamental design of the magic in the world. In that everything is very like circuitry based, like even somebody's soul has like a gate, and like all these things are flowed through, in your body. The flow technique is all kind of connected by sort of the spiritual chakra or whatever. But like on top of that, there's the fact that everybody who seems to be manifested directly from Odlagna itself, like these clones, all speak robotically, like Klein and the Ryuzus and stuff like that. And that is exactly supposed to be referencing the idea that it's that Echidna is looking at it like a computer, which means that in essence, it is something that can be coded.
Is Klein created? I took the interpretation that at one point, in order to use his powers, he gave up the ability to express emotions, so he has to state what he's feeling each time.
I believe either way, it has something to do with the corruption of Odlagna. Like he's tapping the source code too, probably at that point.
I don't think it has anything to do with that, specifically because he does express some emotions at some point. It's just like a very specific moment when he does do that. I think it might be more that it's a consequence of whatever happened with Hector, because it seems like he does not have a very high opinion of Pandora or Hector. I mean, he even says, like, if anyone incompatible were to try and absorb it and do it in the proper way, it would drive you crazy. But believe it or not, the enumerated witch factors that did belong to the people they were customized to be made for did make the people that they were given to crazy. So it's like him saying...
I just want to propose this. Are we certain of that? Or are we just getting unreliable narrated about Pandora and Hector?
Yeah, we are. I mean, obviously, let's not get this twisted, right? Like the idea is that both Roswaal and him both wanted to take this from Hector and stop Hector. And, it's like a part where we don't know
the full story is missing. Yeah.
Because like Hector didn't kill Roswaal. Roswaal kept attacking him and he kept blocking and incapacitating him. And it's presumed that he killed Echidna, but not confirmed on that end either. So like, and with Pandora, the only people that she has like actively caused this problem to herself were the witches cult, which at the time were led to think that, oh yeah, Juice is like a good guy right now. Witches who aren't like well known and liked, not the other witches. Like the elves seem to at least have some connection to Minerva, if we're right about that, and that marriage there.
Yeah, they owed that to Minerva. Yeah.
And regardless, the Witch of Envy, in any circumstance, is not looked well upon by the rest of the world. We have a different interpretation of Satella from our experience with everything that happened with Flugel and Echidna and the rest of the camp. But if Subaru thinks that Flugel sucks based on everything he learns about him, they know Reed sucks. We knew the Witch of Greed sucked.
Yeah, exactly.
Satella says like 4 things total, we're presuming based on our interactions with Amelia and like kind of putting that impression on her that she's probably a good person.
It's almost
but we don't know that.
It's almost like the RPG party has been inversed as a trope and they were the bad guys.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. Like, the thing I think about Satella is that she's a tragic one of that group in the past, in the sense that she was actually a nice and she was the but some like
you're cutting out a lot, Gold.
Sorry, you cut out a lot there.
I was gonna say, I think that Satella was like the conscious of the group, right?
And like the moral compass of the group.
Yeah. And over time, because of their adventures and where it led, and we even know that Alec Ocean's not a nice guy, right? Like all these things, right? That, you know, the reality of the world and the conflicts they engaged in, you know, there was a lot of bloodshed that like happened. Like even Echidna helping Alec Ocean win the war was like a violent and bloody thing, you know, like
imperial act.
Hoshin was born on sunset is a term to like recognize, like it's a surrender or die.
Yeah. And this is really interesting because we were talking a bit about the themes of why it's important that Subaru was summoned in here and before in a couple podcasts, but I think we can expand upon it a bit here because we're on this subject of, you know, the kind of the moral corruption of all of these heroic figures that have been talked about in the past, right? But it adds a really interesting element where we were talking about, you know, how, you know, characters isekaiing is not only wrong, but everyone that has isekai'd, at least for who we are confirmed to know, Flugel and whatever the fuck Al is they aren't good people, and they aren't good for the way the world runs. Like, they fuck things up. And it's almost as if, like, that in itself is a trope for the world. Like, those sage candidates that did come from the other world were messing the world up more and more, making it more unstable, and causing Old Laguna to have to intervene more and more and do these things, like create divine protections, maybe even make the authorities way back then, pre-400 years, like way back, right? And it's important that Subaru is the sage candidate that arrives here, because Subaru is nothing like these people, and he grows more and more opposite and away from their ideology as the story goes on, right?
Well, because if the sage candidates are those who are supposed to be able to take in all of the witch factors without it completely destroying them, a price to be paid or not based on Subaru's experience with Sloth, then the ideal sage is someone who fully embodies all 7 of the deadly sins, which outside of Subaru and now Spica as a result of Subaru, have not been shown that people who are compatible with it are good people. That's been Regulus and Echidna, like, to the maximum so far. Like, it doesn't seem like the sages would have been great. It would have been like all-knowing, omniscient wise men. That's not usually the greatest person to hang around. And like, we could just be seeing Subaru coming in to break the trope of cycle, this world, almost, with tying it all back to Subaru shows up and he looks like a villain because of his eyes. Everyone sees Amelia and thinks she's nothing but a witch, right? He uses the dark, evil, quote-unquote magic. His spirit is tied to that as well. He has a giant werecat. Yeah, exactly. All of this tying him to make him look like the ultimate bad guy, when he can come in and be the first time that it's not like that, which is why Al wants Subaru to be who he's meant to be, but Subaru's not doing it and playing the villain, so Al knows that he has to do it instead. Yeah.
Because the truth is, beyond even Subaru being a sage, he is also a hero. Like, those things are coexisting within him, right?
Yeah, hero. Okay, so for
not
context,
capital H hero though, but
yeah, there are 3 different times that the language in this text can refer to hero. 2 of them have been used a lot, whether it's like you can be a hero, but a hero is all you'll ever be, or you're my hero, Subaru, you're not a hero, etc., etc. That all tying into the ones we've gotten. And then we have like this new term that Witch Cult translated as valiant. I think like savior or something like that might match a bit better. It means like courageous, like brave, courageous guy, individual,
almost virtuous
person.
Right?
Virtuous, yeah. It's used in protagonists like Himmel the hero in in Free Ren. It's that term.
Mm-hmm.
Or like chosen one is the like saints person connected to them for Pandora. If they are, and we've just gotten a different perspective on all of it the entire time, because like the only real instance that I would find hard to justify is Pandora's use of Regulus, but that's also long after everything would have went down.
Yeah.
In the 400 years.
Now I think about it, could Pandora be doing all the things she wants to do, trying to opening the seal, not because she necessarily wants to quote-unquote release the Witch of Envy. She maybe wants to boot out foreign interference from other worlds, like completely, like stop isekaiing being a thing ever again.
Yes, well, one thing that I've always said, and I've said this past, is that Pandora's real fight, of course she hates Echidna because Echidna's stopped everything that she wanted to do. Echidna has literally had the plans with Minerva to seal whatever was sealed in the seal, like all these different things, right? What Pandora wants is to, she is using people. Let's not get that wrong. She's using people. She's creating people to hold these authorities so that she can use them to destroy whatever is going on with Echidna set up, right? But I think that what Pandora is really trying to do is stop the observers. And what that means is something that I don't know yet, but it has something probably to do with what Echidna sees beyond the source code. So if the observers are literally stars, right, and the stars are out there and it's artificial and blah, 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 the stars, and I know we've talked about this metaphorically before, but it's hard to really tell what they exactly are, but are they literally, I mean, this is metaphorically what they are. So I don't know what they literally are.
I think literally they're giant balls of mana based on the ability to pull a star down from the sky. I don't think the stars are observers. I think that was a metaphorical representation of the things above them looking down, and their only example is the stars.
But yes, if that's the metaphor, then what the observers literally are must be something. Is it us, the readers? Is it the people in the real world? In Subaru's world? I don't know.
It's certainly some kind of outside interference.
Yeah. Because
their ability to assign the divine protections is directly incompatible with the authorities that came from Ode Logna, which is the natural force of the world, if nothing else.
I remember we heard lore from the Dragon lore way back in Arc 7 and 8, right? Where they flew beyond the Great Waterfall and some of them became stars and stuff like that, right? Do you think there's almost I know it's almost silly to say initially, but there's something alien going on there. It might not even necessarily be from Earth. It might be something eldritch almost.
Yes, I think it's something like that. I mean, whatever happens when you cross this Great Wall, it's interesting because it's sure, we know the Great Waterfall leads to Earth in quotes, right? But
maybe.
Yeah,
that's just the in-universe character's understanding of where he comes from.
What I'm trying to say is that is what they consider. But the reason why that's linked to Subaru is because whatever is beyond the Great Waterfall has to be dimensional bending. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It has to be the border between this dimension and the next. Mm-hmm. So that's space, right? That's space. That's where the stars reside. But we know that space is a literal thing as well because Reinhardt's hit the moon before,
Well, if the stars are close enough that they can be pulled out of the sky, who's to say that the moon isn't actually significantly smaller than we think, and it's just a floating rock?
It's true, yeah. This last time we can gaze calmly at the moon. It's one of those things where, probably there's a diorama almost of this world, right? And the diorama of the world is there is balls of mana that are quote unquote stars, right? Giving heat to what's below us. The sun is really close, and it's also just a great ball of mana heating the world.
The sun is specifically linked to yang mana as well, though, where the stars are more neutral, which is interesting.
Interesting.
Because it's sourced to the yang sword, and the stars were just pulled purely.
And like that's all to say that like yeah, I don't think the ReZero we talked about the ReZero world flat, right? The ReZero world's flat. The space around it is actually small balls of mana. Who knows the limit of it? And then the rest of it outside of that, like outside of where the stars are, could be an extra dimensional space. And you're right. I think it's eldritch beings in a sense. But if it's not actually eldritch beings as in like Cthulhu, then it's like eldritch beings as in humans from our world or like another world. You know what I mean?
And I guess here comes the question now then. Is this place in a separate universe where their laws of physics is that these are how things work, like stars are balls of mana and such? Or is that saying that this is how, at least in the ReZero universe, the entire universe works, like conceptually, for real?
I don't think so, because, I mean, they even just have like different stars and formations and such. And Subaru has noted that their laws of physics
are different.
Don't match his when the dust explosion didn't work the first time and he had to change it the next time he attempted it.
Which then means this has to be like in itself in a separate universe or dimension from the actual universe, right?
And here's the biggest. I feel like I'm smoking weed right here. I'm gonna say something crazy, right? I honestly think that there's a good chance that the ReZero world is literally a coded video game world that Flugel made or something like that.
No, the thought has occurred to me several times, and I'm choosing to think it's just more similarities to other stories and showing how you can do something like that better, and it's not actually in a game. But the longer it goes on, the more I start to suspect and think
because
that
literally
he is
the
in something
JRPG names that are revealed to us in the last chapter, and like the idea that Echidna is a self-aware creation in this world, yeah.
So that they programmed an NPC so intelligent she became self-aware.
Yes, and it destroyed everything and trapped Flugel inside of the world, you know, and like everybody else gained sentient too. But it's like that's the reason why everything is very like game lot, and that's the reason why she's able to code in quotes, right? So like
Al is just the original player's avatar before the actual player got sucked in the first time.
Yeah. And
that's why he has no face.
It sounds crazy, but it's like it'd be interesting to think that like this is sort of like sci-fi in the sense that like Subaru, like I'm not saying like literally, but like the creator of the game ReZero, right? Like Flugel, right? His power created magic. You know what I mean? Like his whatever he did here.
Yeah, because it's beyond just like actual code video game. It's almost like a coded video game became a real place.
It's like the Matrix. He created a genuine virtual simulated virtual universe.
World, with like a universe that
is to the point where everything can be considered a living being with like
it is all real because these our own universe is just an assembly of electricity and atoms being pulled together.
And also like it would go against the themes of the story if the whole thing would be, and none of these people were real. Because that's exactly the issue. Because
everyone here has autonomy. No one's an NPC.
Which means that they are a person.
and the observers are playtesters who are mad that the NPCs aren't doing what they want them to do anymore.
Or that they can't play the game. Because the whole point is that Al was supposed to be the protagonist because he's like the fill-in character, right? The whole point is I'm supposed to play this role. I'm supposed to be filling this insert or this thing. And... And then fucking Subaru comes along like, la 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 la, and no one's playing the game. And maybe that's why all of the observers are screaming at Cecilus whenever he hears them.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, sorry for smoking weed, but...
No, I am unfortunately in agreement with you that is what it looks like, and I'm just hoping it's not true.
I mean, even if it is true, I don't think it distracts from the story because the storytelling is still good. It's just very funny that would be what he would be thinking of this entire time.
Even though I think there's a way you could make the crackpot theory and argue it and it can work, I don't think it will actually be that personally. I'm not.
I know, but the issue is that whatever is true is that it's so complicated that we have to debate them because we're like. saying something that contradicts itself, and there's evidence to support this thing, there's evidence for that thing, and that's the good part about the mystery of the series, that like it would suck if it was very clear and obvious that like even if this does turn out to be the case, that like you could guess this from day one, because like no, literally nobody could guess anything like this from day one, or like exactly what's happened in the world.
The whole benefit of an isekai story is that the world itself is a mystery.
Right? Yeah, is fascinating to the person who entered it. So like whether it's a coded world or it's an actual like you got sent into a dimensional rift by magic, that doesn't really matter, because at the end of the day, it's like Subaru's still a part of this world with actual living people inside of it.
Yes.
Regardless of what option ends up being taken. I still on the it's magic, but magic can be used like code and rewrite the universe.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean when I say like the magic is almost as code. Yeah.
But it could be either. But the important thing is that it doesn't detract from the story. It adds from the story that we can like genuinely debate what the fuck is going on with this universe, right?
It's so complex and good though.
It is. It just tickles the brain, doesn't it? Like it's strange to say, but it genuinely at times it keeps me up at night. And I'm just genuinely thinking about it because it's just so interesting. I think one thing I'd like to mention as like a segue from all of this talk of like how the world works and stuff like that is like how likely do we think our theory about Subaru getting yeeted back to Earth is going to be after we've been revealed a potential way that we could get him back through cutting through space and time with Klein if we sacrificed enough?
Yes. Okay, so this was a theory I was having before, where I think the fact that Klein had a cost to using his power, and the way that it was described for Roswell to need to start using it before, kind of already was enough of a justification for it. The extra explanation of like the way that it gives up the potential to affect the world, and then the further explanation that the thing having more and more potential to affect the world lets you let him do more with it, like either carry more people or go farther away.
It's almost like because there is limits on what he can do, he can break it, right?
Yes, so that if you give him something enough, that perhaps he would be able to just cross over into the next world, which could also kind of be the way that they are able to pull someone in from the real world too. If like it got so locked into certainty that there was no more potential for anything else in the world, so it needs someone from outside of Earth to come in to fix it. But the thought of that introduction of both the cost and the benefits to it could be a way for them to solve the Satella problem by having Petra give up her knowledge of return by death, thus give up the infinite potential that can give, which does bring Satella and send her back away when the taboo isn't being broken anymore. But it could also be a possible way for Reinhardt to attempt to just be self-sacrificial, as he always likes to be alongside Subaru and Julius, and saying like, oh, well, I have powers that I can just get back. Let me give up my potential to use them in order for you to go and get Subaru, and gives up either a random one or specifically the Sword Saint Divine Protection, which could lead to the Wilhelm you can't even lift a sword without it thief.
Yeah.
But maybe even lead to the Observer / Odlagna, the world, in quotes, kind of getting pissed off at Reinhardt for giving away their gifts, and thus leading to all of them going away, including the Sword Saint, which then leads to the same conversation. I'm almost certain that that's how we fix the Petra knows about return by death solution, though.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely part of it. I mean, either, right, she has to, hopefully she doesn't die, but she has to get rid of it, because obviously we have to get rid of...
It's either a case of, that it's either one of these things are true. Either until the taboo breaking... Oh, what's up?
Gluttony eating her memories, something like that.
Yeah, it's either two of these things are true. for the solution for this. Either the taboo being breaking in itself needs to be rectified, otherwise Satella can never be put back in the box, or the taboo breaking brings Satella out the box, and you have to do a roundabout way to put her back in the box itself.
Like using Volcanicus power again.
Or you make another box.
Yeah,
or another box. Yeah.
Exactly, yeah. So,
or even just open the box and let the real one out so she can control herself. Who knows?
Because Tappei being a smart writer, I know that the emotional satisfaction of Petra knowing Return by Death, if he's going to take that away, he's going to at least leave the possibility that it could be either. That she could actually keep it, and the whole point is that they just have to put her in a new box, and then the whole point is when the taboo is broken again by a separate entity, then she comes back out. Do you know what I mean? Because the issue is also that the box Satella is currently in is breaking and is at its limit too, right? If they put her in a fresh one that's stronger, the taboo might be less influential.
Yeah, I think that's later on in the series, but I was thinking the fact that you brought up something good is the fact that Tappei really likes doing this thing, and I think he's probably going to do the similar thing here, which is when a problem like this presents itself in the story, he likes to seal it away rather than get rid of it. What I mean is that, like, he'll give a conclusion that's not satisfying to either, which is not dissatisfying to the reader, but not too satisfying to the reader that it ruins the stakes of the story.
Yes.
So what ends up coming in this is like, Petra is probably going to have some sort of issue with her memory or something. An issue that feels bad because Petra's hurt or whatever, but it can be solved somehow. You know what I mean? Like there's something that, or like a timer that, like, with all these conditions checked off, it can re-enter the story at some point. But it can be like kind of like a stopgap. You know what I mean?
I mean,
it's like, yeah.
It could even be a thing of it's an issue until endgame ReZero, where Petra is mentally affected by what happened by reading Subaru's book. And one of the big objectives for Subaru going forward is becoming the sage, becoming the person who can almost control the source code or the magic, so he can separate that part from her, so she's not constantly traumatized and part Subaru for the rest of her life.
Well, I think the part Subaru thing, if nothing else, feels, at least to me, like something that Spica could fix with her use of gluttony and the ability to, like, disconnect the, like, concept of someone from a body. If she disconnects Subaru from Petra,
when Spica does that, she's interfacing with Old Laguna for the information.
Yes. So, and it doesn't destroy them. It just disconnects a magical effect or something like that. And I feel like that if she does it to Petra late, which is why all the Petra chapters we've gotten so far, like the Maid Petra Late or something like that.
Yeah, not her actual named chapter, right?
And
then so if, like, that's where, because we gotten the Spica mentioned here like a couple of times of, like, it'd be helpful if we had her with us, sort of thing.
So she's gonna.
We maybe shouldn't have left her behind. I do think that they will go back and get her, but she also may have just been too big of a problem for Al to deal with, and, like, even the author couldn't figure out a way for Al to convince her not to be with Subaru when he needs
she has a good reason.
I think it's also the thing of Vincent is so effective a ruler and so effective at what he does that there is a time limit on how long it's going to take before Spica gets rid of all of the undead. So it is
100%.
like she could come back naturally into the story even without the interference of the others.
Right, it just needs time for the.
They might not even have time to access Valakia and her themselves.
That's true. Although nothing is guaranteed with fucking teleportation everywhere.
No.
Yeah, and also the fact that there's so many characters running around. Who knows who's going to show up and when?
But yeah, so many interesting big brain discussions and topics today. Like some of these lore revelations, holy shit.
Yeah, massive.
Yeah, a lot of them. And they're crazy. But, I mean, I still can't help feel, but it's just all overshadowed by my girl coming back in full, finally. And I'm just so happy for her. And Rom. I cried during her and Rom's second reunion here. It was so sweet.
But also so cute. Oh,
yeah, we were waiting for this moment. Honestly.
Yeah, this is like a cathartic moment, like genuinely.
Okay, it's a dumb question for you guys, but just to throw it out there. we know that Gluttony threw something up and that its intention was to affect everyone. And that the presumed case is that he threw up both her name and memories at the same time. Right? Just as an option, are we certain he did? And that they aren't also correct that somehow the timing just happened to align, that he threw up the name, and maybe also Subaru's like care and affection towards her with the Morning Star helped her restore her memories too? That there isn't a chance that they might be right?
Connor, I'm sorry, brother. I think it was just a sweet symbolic moment. I don't think it's deeper than that, unfortunately. Even though it would be really fucking cute if it was. I don't think Tapei is kind enough to allow that to be the case.
But he is a big enough troll for us to think that it's just a dumb thought because they happen to do it at the same moment. But if it actually did happen at the same moment, no one would be certain.
See this? He's weaving false narratives. He's putting false propaganda in his own fucking work.
Because that might give Krush a way to her memories back at some point too, without specifically throwing up only memories, which I don't think benefits the Gluttonies in any scenario ever.
Yeah, and I think the issue is with Roy being outside of his thing, and the perspective, we talked about this last time, but the perspective of Roy being a Gluttony, Speak is the most sympathetic Gluttony because she's not even the Gluttony that harmed anyone. But Roy, in the sense that we've always gotten his perspective in a more sympathetic light than Lei ever had, right? And now we need to have a moment where he is captured again, but not really. I don't. Honestly,
I think he dies in this arc. Genuinely,
yeah,
I think Roy's done.
His days numbered.
Either he dies or he has to atone somehow, and I think the way to atone is by getting rid of Krush.
I think realistically, what is going to happen is Al is going to use him like this. He is going to make Gluttony spit out all of the names that it's held. It's going to make him eat Subaru's name before he throws him in there to try and stop any pursuit of trying to bring Subaru back or anything like to that degree, right? And replace Subaru, or at least not replace Subaru, but make sure Subaru doesn't have a place in this world at all. That's Al's plan, at least from my understanding. He is then probably going to kill Gluttony, and because of seemingly how it works, it shouldn't release Subaru's name back out if he kills him.
No, it doesn't. Because it all just gets stored back in their Palace of Memories, Ode Lagna space where Louis existed for so long.
Yeah.
I think Al might be trying to use Roy to eat his own name at the end of it.
Right.
Rather than
because that means it gets rid of him being the following star.
Yeah, and also him doing all this stuff as well. It's people won't know that he did it.
If Aldebaran isn't a Japanese name and this was the name given to him, like mechanically, do you think he'll try and adopt his actual Japanese name if he successfully does that for at least a small part of the arc?
I don't know.
I don't think he has.
He thinks he's kind of done. I think he's just going to remove Aldebaran from like all of this. Like I'm supposed to become what I'm supposed to be, which is the following star.
Yeah.
But he also has given himself a time limit. I don't know. It feels. We don't know what his objective is in the end, though. Aside from getting rid of Super, like what's the end goal here, Al?
And
I think he wants to be.
Really
hey,
hard
my name
to
is
figure it
Subaru.
out. Yeah, because there's so many different things it could be that he could potentially do. Right. This is the thing. It's up in the air. Which
also, it's like
Go ahead.
I was gonna say this entire scenario is, and also because it's exactly what it's made for, you know. As he said, I was gonna say that like the fact that like Pandora is still not going to move after all this means that this is so insignificant in her plan that she doesn't need to intervene. She doesn't need to intervene to help Lei. She doesn't need to intervene to help all these Synarch bishops that are dying. Whatever's happening here, it means that the authorities are going to their right place. That's all I'm saying.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I think because feels like her goal is just to ensure that they, I guess, almost end up with where they need to be at the end of all of it.
That's right. She can't give people authorities. They have to take it themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Just like how when Beetlejuice does it.
It's like, I won't take away your taking of the authority, which shows that she can do that as well.
Yeah.
But she needs people to do it themselves, just like how she needs Amelia to choose herself.
Exactly.
She can't take away free will, but she can change what has already happened in the past, which is an interesting thing.
It is very
that it doesn't affect people; it only affects this, like the current circumstance of everything.
Yeah, because it can almost only control the world, and people are their own individual people with their own free will, right, inside that world.
Mm-hmm.
It then adds the interesting element of, again, we were talking earlier about how the parallels between Subaru and Regulus, and how Regulus was the perfect pick for Greed for his own version of it. And it's really interesting to think Pandora showed up, offered it to him, and he just took it immediately because that's what he wanted, right? Like,
yeah, if you're greedy, you're going to take it instantly. Why would you not?
100%. Threw it away on him, and that's why he was her perfect lapdog, pretty much, because
exactly.
It wasn't even, there's no convincing, there was no tragic backstory she had to contend with. She just had to.
And there was also he was the perfectly compatible for it, so she didn't have any issues with it ending up with him. And the reason she may not have intervened when Subaru got it is because he is perfectly compatible with it too.
Right, exactly. I mean, I think all the Synarch bishops are meant to be fodder to be killed by Subaru, and then to have the things transferred to it. Like, even right now with Spica is going to have to sacrifice herself eventually, or be killed by Subaru eventually.
Do you think that's the real reason Echidna gave Subaru the tea for the sloth witch factor, to make him compatible enough to get under Pandora's radar?
I think so. That could be a reason. Yeah.
I think so. I think, like, the idea is that obviously Echidna wants to usurp whatever Pandora wants.
Or at the very least, their goals are misaligned.
Yeah, they're diametrically opposed.
They are diametrically opposed, yeah. I think the other thing too here to consider is that if Pandora hadn't intervened directly with Subaru already, and it's not a big reveal near the end of she always was, she just was changing it or something, it adds an element here where it means that she has to know what's going on with Subaru, which at least then means that she is at least approving of what Subaru is doing, which means she could theoretically be an ally to Subaru specifically.
Yeah, exactly, right? Like, if Subaru's outcome is that he does all of these sins and then, incorporates them successfully and develops successfully, then whatever Pandora wants, she may still have the perspective of a deific figure, in the sense that she is detached from her own emotions and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, at the end of the day, what she wants isn't quite as base or selfish as, of course, Echidna.
Mm-hmm. But not
might
necessarily
even be for the benefit.
Pure either, right?
Exactly, because of course it hurts people,
it corrupted her. And the whole point is at least that Subaru is the only one who can not be exactly 100 billion% pure, but at least make his sins also virtues too.
Yeah, because you got to realize that both, like, whatever fate is going on with everybody, or all the characters right now, I mean, even Amelia and whatnot, they're all trying to rebel in their own unique ways. Subaru needs to, even at the end, even if he agrees with Echidna, or like he sympathizes with Echidna and agrees with Pandora's perspective, he's going to choose his own unique way with the power that he wields and that he learns from all of his friends that are also trying to defy fate. Yes. It's all just going to be a part of it. Yeah.
And I have two more subjects that I want to talk with you boys, and I think I will be content with what we have discussed today. So, another thing to do with Rem. Because Garfield is out of action, we have not seen his reaction to Rem being back. And that is something we're not going to know the extent of how he feels about. So it's going to be a complete surprise when we learn.
I imagine he has to still see her like in a really positive light based on the reuser's reaction to her.
It very much is the case
Right.
that he probably saw her in a similar light to Ram, not in the same way that he like fell in love with her, but in that sisterly way, right?
Oh, but are we sure of that? Or did his feelings for Rem get misplaced onto Rom when the memory of her disappeared?
Drama. I mean, honestly, though, I think Garfield just liked the stern who called him a fool. I think that's probably
but
likely. Yeah,
we've seen from Provincial Rem and from Rem in Arc 2 that when it's someone that she doesn't have to respect, Rem acted the same way as Rom to people like that.
And Rem was also like cold-blooded enough to like kill people that she was suspicious of, and
well, like, torture them. Rom's the one that killed them.
Right.
In that loop.
The wind, yeah. The idea that like Rem, I do wonder what people actually think about Rem, right? Because we're gonna get Fred Ericas and stuff like that. Like, their whole relationship their dynamic needs to be kind of shaped. But also, it's like even Roswell had his own opinions of Rem. Like all these different things that we don't know about. And we talked before that I think like Rem still has potential that she needs to fulfill, right? Which is not just the fact that she now has the ability to be independent. I mean that like there's something interesting about the Oni clan, both her and her sister, that they are going to try to fulfill. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, even when we got the Dragonkin backstories, it was described like the Oni are an exception above the other humanoid races on like what they can do.
Mm-hmm.
And the Witch Cult obviously has been taking them out for a reason. Like, why?
Exactly. Now we need to know the reason why Roswell.
Why is Capella exterminating their tribes like that?
Yep.
Now, this is a thing I'm going to posit here because we've been talking about all of these theories about why Echidna's so special, being able to tap into the magic of everything. The Oni's ability is to literally live in like complete harmony with mana through their horns, right? And to constantly draw it in. Would they worry perhaps that an Oni could eventually achieve something similar to Echidna because of how they could play with mana?
Perhaps. Or they might have some sort of like I mean, obviously Rem and the other Oni that encountered fucking Capella's and her forces are able to sense the witch's scent on people.
Mm-hmm.
Which for whatever reason one of the reuses is capable of doing as well.
Yeah.
But Rom can't, and that might be attributed to her horn. That the witch's scent could even just be like the horn is sensitive to miasma and such and can detect things like that. Where the Oni just as an existence are a threat to those who have authorities. If the horn is able to passively interact and be like aware of them, like what else is it really able to do?
If you know that somebody has an authority, right? Like for example, even right?
You cut out there.
Even in what?
Oh, even an unenumerated authority can be detected through this scent, right? That they can smell. Then it has a lot of value in taking them out because I think like whatever is going on there, like artificial authorities or whatever. Maybe it goes against her plans. Pandora wanted all them dead because if Rem can sense that she's there, then she can't manipulate people. You know what I mean?
Oh, that's a good point. Like if she's just trying to pop in and like ruin people's existence, then who's to say what's going on with that?
Interesting.
Part of it.
That's an interesting idea. Yeah.
You guys got to remember that this was under definitely the book that Capella read, right? Like it's not like I doubt that she just killed.
No, it's probably from the gospel that she would have had.
Yeah, she's following instructions, which means that it's likely Pandora that wants that to happen, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Really interesting stuff that we'll let the commentators on home think about and tell us what you think in the comments. But one last big topic I would like to talk about today, and this is the one I've been saving for the end because I think it's gonna at least be a 10-20 minute conversation. So, why is Luana a sleeping beauty, guys?
Well, I mean, we're right. It wasn't Gluttony.
No,
so good for us Gluttony.
On that. Who was it?
I was expecting this. I mean, to be fair, it was Reinhardt. What does that even mean? I don't know. Right? Like, it means that his authority acted instinctively somehow when he was born. But that makes no sense because that's the timeline of like the timeline makes. When was he blessed with the sword saint blessing? Was it the same time? No, it wasn't, right?
We don't see Luana in that circumstance at that time. Like we know that like it happened to Reinhardt when he was 4, I believe is the timeline for that. But we haven't gotten a clear example of Luana. I'll double check to see if like we know how long she's been out.
I at least remember in the anime we get the image of her holding Reinhardt after he's born, right? With all of the Happy Estrella family, which means that it doesn't at least happen as soon as Reinhardt is born. What it could potentially mean, though, is that maybe it has something to do with why Reinhardt is so special, or at least became so special, because maybe it wasn't completely initial, right? And that maybe the reason he's loved so much by the world is he literally almost took in the love of another person and placed it on top of his own love naturally.
It says on the wiki that it happened when Reinhardt was 2 years old. Is when she fell unconscious.
Okay.
See, now it's still weird, right?
Because she is still in suspended animation too.
Yeah, it's the exact same as the other Sleeping Beauty syndrome, but the way it's came about is different.
Yeah. And yeah, there were 2 when it's interesting. Oh, there was a side story that I read and what happened, but like Felt saw Luana and she was like to Reinhardt's like, wow, this is your mother? And he's like, yeah, I guess it is. Like he doesn't seem like particularly
attached to it.
Plus, yeah, he's like, what? Like he's like, yeah, I don't really know her.
I mean, if he was 2 years old, he would have no memories of her.
Yeah,
like, at all.
He doesn't seem to really. I mean, obviously he has no memories, but like, I do wonder like what exactly happened, and we know that it's not like Heinkel took
this,
because he was with him even afterwards and tried to guide him even afterwards.
I think this is a thing of Teresia's death. If it had happened and Luana was fine, Heinkel would not have given up on Reinhardt. I think the thing is what happens to Luana happens, and he initially thinks, okay, Reinhardt is a kid, like this is a thing I can solve. I'm his father. I'll get our family back together. And then Teresia dies as a result of him taking the Sword Saint Divine Protection, and it starts to like break him a bit. But the thing I'm going to mention here that I think is really interesting is this adds context to what Heinkel was saying to Wilhelm about how his solution was the wrong one. And I think I can honestly say that he's objectively right now knowing this. Because Wilhelm's solution would not have fixed this family dynamic problem if Reinhardt was the one that caused this issue.
No. It's clearly it's still something that Reinhardt did inadvertently if this happened when he was a toddler. But it's like what really is the source of that? Like, did he push her somehow? One of the divine protections trigger on her? Steal another one from her? Can his divine protection of stealing powers take more than that?
Could it? I know this is like a really out there theory, but could it be almost like she has a divine protection that allows, and it's a thing of like when she, has a child and they like stay alive, or it has something to do with the fact that it like almost can transfer over and kind of like take her like existence but not her life.
Interesting.
Like it's almost as if she has something that can cause the mechanism of that to happen specifically, something to do with like her bloodline or just the way it operated. But like Reinhardt could give that back but would give up whatever allows him to just ask for divine protections.
Right. It's very interesting on like what's technically Heinkel doesn't say yes, Reinhardt did that to her. It's very much an inferred answer for that.
Yeah, but what I think what that is saying by Heinkel not saying that is Reinhardt didn't do it on purpose and do something maliciously. It just inadvertently
it's because of him.
Yes, exactly. Which is
And that
why
could be a
Heinkel
billion and one
needs
things.
to do the method that he has chosen to save his family, right?
Mm-hmm. I wonder if it's even like just locked in of something where, as Reinhardt's mother, he wouldn't be able to fulfill his role and his destiny with someone that would worry and care about him.
Someone that would give him humanity.
On it inadvertently, like no matter what he had done to Teresia, if Luana was still alive, she never would have left Reinhardt at his side.
Never.
Like never. She wouldn't have allowed them to put him into the fucking role of a knight at that age. She may have even have prevented Reinhardt from hearing Heinkel like worry about Teresia and causing the situation in the first place.
And that situation be avoided in the first place, yeah. It's almost like the presence of the Luana herself genuinely would heal the family. And Heinkel means that in a deeper way than it would heal the emotional wounds. That it's the effect of her being gone is what caused all of these issues to pop up.
Interestingly, that would mean that her potential has been taken from her entirely for now, hasn't it?
All of her potential gone.
Which links that to an authority somehow. If actually, not
maybe
the
not
melancholy
even all
one.
of her potential. All of it's been focused on the potential of her son. Like her potential part of her potential would be having this child. It's almost like it was all of her potential was like funneled into the thing that is her child.
What if the sword saying blessings of authority?
Interesting.
Like it's the extracurricular out there.
Like whatever Reinhardt has is actually authority, and that's why it's so warped and different.
And
is that
it's duplicating divine protections and such.
Yeah. And the reason why Tepe has mentioned that Reinhardt's POV would be a spoiler is because of that.
Yeah, it's like a glitch, like a coding error. You know what I mean?
That's possible.
Yeah.
I mean, we already had a weird coding error with how the fuck the Gluttonies exist and Louis and then Speaker existing in Old Laguna.
Yeah.
Like, who's to say we can't have it in other manners or ways?
I think this is a part of the similar vein of whatever Reinhardt sees and thinks is like he's looking at the source code of the world as well. That's the reason why his perspective would be a spoiler, because he literally sees through things in the way that like Echidna would, right? And that's why he is, in the way that he is.
And this is the reason why Reinhardt is a hero and that's all he can ever be. And the whole point is that he's not the hero of the story. He's just the capital H hero of the world, is because it's a similar issue with Echidna and with all of this stuff is where they're learning the wrong lessons and they don't have humanity. And that's, again, why Subaru is important to this story.
I'm sure we will get more answers on Luana throughout this arc, though.
I'm so
speculating on it too much is just going to bite us in the butt.
Yeah.
I've gotten my win. I am just going to ride this high the rest of the arc.
Hell yeah.
They could do almost nothing to ruin this for me at this point.
And then they killed Otto.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what? I still consider it a win. I love Otto. He's done great for the story. If he self-sacrifices himself in this as a result, and Subaru has to live with a friend giving up themselves for that,
to save him,
yeah, that's good. That's good development for him too. I'm not going to say no. I have Rem back.
I mean, to be fair, if there was any character in the Emilia camp that was going to happen, it would be either Otto or Frederica that would do that, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, some interesting stuff we talked about today, but I think we're going to cap our speculation here because I don't know about you, but I want to learn more about it when it comes out in the next phase. Yeah. So we are caught up, at least where we're currently recording this. Again. And it's fully, like, completely at this point now.
Yep.
So we did it, guys! Fuck yeah!
Let's go! Phase 3 over.
And it was what a journey too. Wow.
Yeah, Arc 9 still peak, still top arc of the series so far.
Yeah, genuinely. If these phases keep up in quality, this arc blows all the other arcs out the fucking water.
100%.
And with that, folks, I think we're gonna call it for today. I hope you have a wonderful evening or day, wherever you are. Please comment your thoughts down below. Tell us our theories are genius, or tell us that we're stupid and we missed something obvious. And please tell us your thoughts, because we want to learn from them and we want to discuss it with you. It's really interesting to us. We always read every comment.
Mm-hmm.
And with that, goodbye, everyone!
Bye, everybody. Woo.
Bye.